I awoke slowly, finding myself in a dimly lit room. For some reason, everything was in black and white, and I was sleeping in a full suit. Because this is noir, and you don't fuck with the classics. I knew I had to get out of there fast, and find a way to figure out what had happened. Looking around the room, my only clues were a bunch of props and gimmicks, things used for sheer levity. It's as if someone had used these items to turn a serious situation into their own sick joke. I needed answers fast. My head was swimming with endless statistics and news articles I couldn't piece together. That's when I saw it. The sheer horror clawing its way out from the darkness, like the abyss staring back at me from 1,000 miles away. A lone cup of coffee sat on a table with the ugliest lamp I've ever seen. Questions perplexed me. Would this coffee be hot and steamy like Scarlett Johansson? Or would it be ice cold and dry, like a woman who just found the Right Stuff website? As I stepped closer to the cup and reached for it, my horrors were confirmed. The nightmarish truth had all come back to me now. That this was We Told You So, episode 51.
I mean, you have to laugh so you don't cry. Trump is suing the Des Moines Register today, one of the top pollsters in the country, over their final Iowa survey. Once again, going after people in the media just for saying bad things about him or things that he didn't like. Much like how he recently settled with ABC for $15 million because they didn't want to bother putting up with his bullshit, when he complained about George Stephanopoulos' comment about him being found liable for grape. Which, as I stated, many people in the news were actually surprised that they settled because George Stephanopoulos was actually correct. The judge indeed clarified it for us, saying that he did indeed grape E. Jean Carroll. And once again, at a press conference yesterday, Donald Trump made himself look like a bombastic idiot. He said that he's been called by over 100 countries to congratulate him on his win in the election. He said, I've spoken to over 100 people where they called to congratulate not only the election, but also the size of the election and the extent of the victory. Remember, this is coming from a narcissistic pathological liar who has made claims like Muhammad Ali once told him that Trump was faster and a better boxer than him. Literally everything this man says is a lie. But also on the extent of his victory, as I've had to point out many times, as usual, Donald Trump is claiming a massive mandate, but he is definitely overreading that. As I am going to continue to point out, Donald Trump barely won this election by 2.5 million votes, whereas Joe Biden kicked his ass by 7 million in 2020. Donald Trump barely won the popular vote by 1.5%, and he does not have a mandate because he didn't even get 50% of the popular vote. This was one of the closest races in modern history, which is why the second anybody wanted a recount, the Republicans filed 12 lawsuits to stop it. Because they knew this was not a massive victory on Donald Trump's part. He barely squeaked it out like a fart at the debate. But going back to Trump's idiotic comments about countries congratulating him, he went on to say, "You wouldn't believe how many countries there are. I'm trying my best to get back to everybody." To which journalists have said such things as, America, this is the idiot you elected. And former U.S. diplomat Brett Buren added, Trump just said you wouldn't believe how many countries there are, but actually, diplomats do. But then again, Vagina Neck doesn't know much about the world because his makeup is giving him lead poisoning. Once again, non-voters and leftists who refuse to vote for a black woman, thank you for once again putting this moron in charge of all of us. For at least the next 4 years. We could have had progress, we could have had good things happen in this country, but now we have a future cabinet coming in that is full of inept fascists who have no clue what their job entails, and an authoritarian fascist conman who is once again taking office to enrich himself. He's already started doing that. Not only by releasing his brand to Saudi Arabia for new projects, but also with his new bullshit line of cologne. Ah, smells like treason. This has been We Told You So. It's 11:30 and I need a fucking drink.